Obviously, I was here from day one for Carrington, and just nothing really wavered with that. And I'm at the point where I wanted him and Laurel to make it to the end, and now they are. And I think that says a lot about me and my growth for being happy for people that I care about.
One of my favorite things about this show is not necessarily the love connections, those are great, but I love the connections that the girls have, and I feel like you had a genuine, like, you found your Love Island with Laurel. You guys were so cute together.
Thank you. I know I've said before, I did find my genuine connection, and I was like, that was with Laurel, because, you know, coming into Love Island, I know there's like different like twists and turns that happen. Who would have thought that I would have befriended like this girl that came in with the guy that like I really liked and kind of pursued throughout the entire show. She's just an amazing, genuine, like sweet person, and I love her to death. Like whenever I was leaving, I was like, I know you love this dress. I was like, take this dress. Like, I want you to have it. Like, I'm so excited to see her again after this. And it's just funny because our friendship kind of was circumstantial with the show, but like, she is definitely a friend for life.
It was like from the moment you guys had your initial conversation after Casa Amor, you were like, yeah, we're good. Like, we're friends.
Yeah,
I was like, never had a weird moment.
Yeah, no bad beef or anything, like bad blood between us. You know, I like Carrington and those feelings are there. I was like very honest with her throughout the whole process too. I was like, I support you. I think what you and Carrington have is something that's real, and I really hope it works out for y'all too. And I'm just so happy that everything went down the way it did, like for the last recoupling, because I was like there holding her hand with her and just like we were just like squeezing each other so tight. And then when we heard Carrington say, this girl brings out my romantic side, we both like were like, oh my God. I was like, it's you. And like, I know she's gonna do amazing, and I'm gonna be supporting her every step of the way.
Speaking of Bennett, I felt like the moment that you were done with him at that Men at Work challenge when he picked Laurel, which I thought was cool because she was like down in the dumps after what Carrington did. But then he was like, oh, I did it to make you jealous. And I was like, why would you?
Literally, exactly, to light a fire under my butt. And I was sitting there and I was like, it's not how you do it with me. But at the same time, I never really opened up enough with him to where he would know, like, that's not how I do things. But also another big thing with me and Bennett, and the realization that I was just kind of not really feeling it with him in a sense of pursuing things further for the show and like after, was at the Men at Work challenge before he picked Laurel. I was just talking to the girls and I was like, oh my God, like I kind of don't want him to pick me. And that's a big thing. Yeah. And like, I don't really want to go into a super passionate kiss if I'm having this realization. And so whenever he picked Laurel, I was like, I was kind of shocked and stunned, but I was like, okay, this made it easier on me.
So you were standing there when Carrington picked Lakin for that challenge, and my God, like you were standing there with Laurel, you're the one that leans over to her and is like, see, this is how he is. Like, what was going through your head in that moment?
I honestly wasn't really surprised with the fact that he picked Lakin. Even Laurel said to me before the challenge, she was like, I know he's gonna do this. I know he's gonna pick her. Like he was being weird with her the entire day. You know, she said he normally like is all over her in the morning, and he wasn't. And I could see that he just wouldn't really hang out with her. And that is very different from how they like normally like started off. Just standing there, being there for her, I was like, oh my God. And, you know, I knew he was going to pick her. And when he finally did, I like kind of felt her and I was like, no, you're fine. And then, you know, after they did everything and they got to the part where they had to kiss, I was like, are you going to watch it? And she's like, no. I was like, okay. But whenever that happened to me, when Carrington picked Lauren for the car wash, or when Lauren picked Carrington and I had to watch it, I was like, I want to watch this. I want to see how much he's giving into it, if it's more him or her. But, you know, I was going to be there for Laurel no matter what. And I was like, you don't have to watch it.
Now that Carrington picked Laurel in the recoupling, do you feel like he's all in on her, or do you feel like Lakin still being in the villa is going to be an issue? How do you feel?
After Carrington picked Laurel, I have hope for them. You know, I think it's going to be like, you know, he's probably still going to be looking over at Lakin being like, oh, hi, and maybe still having that interest, because clearly I was in it the whole time and my interest never faded. But the fact that he chose Laurel says so much. Like, I'm so proud of him. Like, I told him the night before, I believe, that he should follow his heart and do whatever, you know, he feels is right for him, and not to listen to what anyone has to say, because like you came into this alone, and like you came in here for you, so do what makes you feel good. But I just feel like since he picked her and everything he said was amazing, I feel like they're gonna go beyond the villa for sure.
Good, because I was disappointed in him. Like, I was like, okay, maybe him and Kierstan just like weren't meant to be, but now he's with Laurel. He seems really invested. And then he turned his head again, and I was like, Carrington.
I know.
Swear to God.
What are you doing? I'm like, what are you doing? Get your head in the game. Like, you have an amazing girl. Like, I understand things just didn't really hit off the way that I wanted to with him, and I still had some hope there because, you know, even though we were just friends and I was like, okay, I want him and Laurel to work out, like I honestly do. And then people are probably watching like, how is this girl still like holding out hope? It's just because even talking to him as a friend and even just seeing him grow, like from how he was with me or just like from his start to seeing him open up and being more romantic and just like, you know, progressing and growing as a person, I was like, that's so attractive to me. So that's what made me like him even more. But that doesn't mean that I was gonna like jump in and be like, love me. Like, I'm not gonna do that. I feel like what he has with Laurel is very special. And even though I love Lakin too, I just felt like he made the right decision.
I feel like your love for Laurel overpowers any feelings you have for Carrington.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, it says a lot because, you know, I wanted the same guy. I still have feelings for him. A month, like I was in there exactly a month. That's not enough time for me to like, I mean, it is enough time to like get over someone, but not when you're surrounded by them like day in, day out.
A day is a week there, right? Like,
yeah, a day feels like forever to where I could have faked it or not faked it. I could have pushed through because I did have like feelings for Bennett. Not saying I didn't. He was an amazing guy and like great person. I was just kind of like ready to go, and I felt like my time was there, and I felt like I was still like looking over my shoulder and, you know, still kind of liking Carrington, but not in the sense that I wanted to pursue him further and break that up because I'll feel like, no, there's no hope there either. But I don't know. It feels like a year.
One moment I want to ask you about is when the Casa Amor recoupling happened.
Oh,
and
no.
Carrington came down the effing stairs like he was by himself and then waved down Laurel. I was like, what is this boy doing right now? What went through your mind?
That was so, like, that was probably the hardest thing for me because I'm very big on making great gestures and, you know, making big statements, big and bold statements. And, you know, I did meet a lot of great guys across the board, but this is Love Island. And, you know, even though Carrington and I left things off as friends, I just didn't really want to bring someone as a friend because I wanted him to see, wow, she's still standing there. If that sparked anything, then amazing. If it didn't, then I got the clarity that I needed. And I did. Still was like full speed ahead of him though. But seeing that was insane. Like I knew 100%, okay, 99.9% that he was going to be bringing someone in. And I prepared myself for it. And I still, you know, didn't waver in my decision to, you know, bring someone in. Like I wanted to stand alone and stand strong. And it was just the fact that like, I'm right here. I know he's bringing someone in. And then the girls, I see him walking down alone. I'm like, oh my God, I don't see another pair of legs. Like, this is insane. And all the girls are like, oh my God. I'm like, there's no way that he feels the same way or that like he had this realization. And so it went from like, oh my God, I'm having all this hope now. Like, this is amazing. And then seeing him stop and turn around, I just crushed. It was 0 to 100 and back down like to a negative something. It was crazy.
I was like talking to people about this and they were like, well, the producers probably made him do that. And I'm like, he could have said no.
That's why
I don't want to do that.
I thought the same thing. At the same time, yes, we can turn things down, but I mean, we are on a TV show and I understand, but also people had a great point. They're like, would you have still felt so like the same way and like been, you know, annoyed and hurt and pissed off for sure if you had recoupled with someone? And I think, yes, I would have, because I did have feelings with him for him at the time. And so even if I was sitting with someone, having that, you know, roller coaster emotions, just seeing him walk and be like, oh my God, I'm coupled up with this guy and Carrington's coming back alone, I still would have felt the same way. I thought it was hard. Like, who does that? And I remember saying that over and over. Like, who does that to a person? That's what I just kept saying.
Who does that? It was like,
but I don't think it was Carrington. It's a show. There's dramatics, but I feel like he does have a good heart, and so it's gonna be very painful to watch that back because that was probably the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
big, bold statement. And to see that, wow.
And then Connor comes right in after with the teddy bear. It was just one of the most brutal recouplings I've ever.
No. Connor came in and I knew he was going to come in alone because like I saw how he felt for Mackenzie, and then me knowing, like being with Mackenzie and knowing that she like picked Jalen and that she was going to pick Jalen, and seeing him walk in, I was like, okay, like I see his face. But then the people that were in front of me, like they blocked his view of like his arm. So I didn't see he was holding Gus, the teddy bear, until he got closer. And then I was like, oh my gosh. And the fact that he had to like give it back to her, it was just heartbreaking because Connor's my guy. I love him with all my heart. And he's my Cancer babe. We have the same like astrology sign. So I was like, you understand me. But it was hard to see that too.
Just to update you on the outside world, they want to give it a shot, and they are currently together. They like, I think he's flown to Arizona to be with her. Mackenzie especially got a lot of hate from the viewers. So
she did. I haven't got my phone back yet.
Yeah, because it's just like, you know, everyone's edited down into an hour a night and the most extreme versions of themselves. So
I know.
So a lot of people, you know, hated on her for being controlling, recoupling, going back to Connor, all those things.
Yeah.
And what did you see from them? Do you think they have a real shot? Do you think they're a good couple?
I'm very happy that they are giving it a shot because, you know, Connor, I saw how he was with her and how much he cared about her. And like we had conversations where like both of us were battling like just going home. There were multiple times where I've said like, I think I want to go home, but I was like, I don't want to. Like, I'm not a quitter, all this stuff. Like, I'm not going to give up. But like we both like had rough times in there. You know, I was also asking him like if there was a possibility, like would you like go home? Like if you went home, would you go after Mackenzie? And he was like, yeah. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, go for it. Like if you really feel that you want to go after someone wholeheartedly, like I'm all for big grand gestures.
Grand gestures.
Go for it. Yes. From what I saw though in the villa is it did look like she was a little bit controlling, but at the same time, I feel like it was definitely like a two-way thing. Like maybe he wasn't giving her like everything she needed, and maybe she was just expressing that and she has a certain way of expressing things. I didn't really get too much into their relationship because, you know, I was over there like riding my emotional roller coaster. But I'm just really happy for them that they're going to give it a shot. And I think it'll work out.
I feel like this show has got to be like a crash course on how you behave in relationships and like how like your love language and all that kind of stuff. Like what do you...
Yeah.
What do you feel like you learned about yourself and like in terms of like your needs and what you're looking for in the outside world?
I learned that I am stubborn as hell. I'm very picky. I kept asking for more guys. I think I had like 10 guys at one point. Like, you know, I had Carrington and then I got asked out on 2 dates, and then I had 5 Casa more guys come in, each of them kind of expressing some interest. And then I got 3 guys come in. I'm like, I'm just never satisfied. Like what's wrong with me? But I know what I want, and, you know, I'm not going to let something like this kind of change who I am. But at the same time, I learned to open up more, and then I need to open up. I don't know. I'm big on physical touch. I'm big on like attractive, because like if you're out, I always say this, if you're out at a bar and you see someone, that instant like, oh my God, who is that? Like I need that because, you know, you're with someone and you want to be like all about them. And, you know, physical is big for me. I feel like that's not an issue. I'm just ready to get back out there. Like,
I know. Well, there were so many times, like, I would see you, like, connect with a guy, and I'd be like, great, it's going good. And then the next episode, I was like, oh, she's moving on. Where's she going?
Oh, I know. People are probably like, this girl.
At the same time, I was like, I'm glad she's not forcing something that isn't fair with anybody.
Exactly, because I feel like if I were to force something with someone, it would be very obvious because, you know, my body language isn't the same towards someone that I, you know, like versus I don't like. And you know, it's all about trying. I just feel like in there, I got so burnt out. I'm like, I'm never going to find it. It's just me. Like, I don't know what's happening, but I don't know. It was an emotional roller coaster for sure.
Now that it's all said and done, if you could do anything differently about your experience, is there anything that you would change?
I feel like I did everything that I wanted to do. I don't know if I'd change anything. Yes, I would probably like open up a little more and kind of dive deeper. But at the same time, I don't know, because I know what I want and I go for what I want and I fight for what I want. And I feel like, you know, watching back, I might look at things differently. But as of right now, I feel like I did everything as I wanted to.